The Strait of Hormuz is not just a typical maritime shipping lane, SLOC. It is a strategic choke point, 21 nautical miles wide, through which 20% of the world's oil supply passes via very large crude carriers, VLCCs. Any disruption to the freedom of navigation in this region would immediately collapse the global energy security network. Intelligence report. According to Reuters, on April 15, 2026, Tehran has taken an unusual strategic turn. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, IRGCN, has unilaterally proposed the establishment of a safe maritime corridor. Specifically, the IRGCN has pledged to withdraw its fast attack craft squadrons, allowing commercial vessels to move close to Oman's territorial waters and be fully exempted from the standard interception rules of engagement, ROE. An illogical move from a country maintaining a 2AD capabilities capable of blockading the entire Persian Gulf. Why has Tehran lowered its deterrence level? Is this a strategic concession or a deception operation to conceal the redeployment of firepower? Below is a comprehensive battlefield analysis. To assess the strategic impact, we must analyze the battle space of the Gulf region. The Strait of Hormuz is a choke point approximately 21 nautical miles wide. More critically, the Single Traffic Separation Scheme, TSS, for very large crude carriers, VLCCs, lies entirely within Iran's A2AD zone. Here, every target is tightly locked by anti-ship cruise missile networks and asymmetric tactics from the IRGCN's fast inshore attack craft FIAC flotillas. The proximity is so close that early warning time is almost non-existent, turning the escort efforts of the U.S. Navy and NATO into an extremely complex air defense problem. What is the strategic significance of the Oman Corridor? Data from Reuters indicates that Tehran is proposing a transit lane outside the traditional blockade zone. Commercial vessels are authorized to operate along the shallow waters of Oman's territorial waters. Most importantly, the IRGCN has issued an amendment to the Rules of Engagement, ROE, declaring a suspension of interception operations, relinquishing the right to board and search, VBSS, and not detaining civilian vessels in this corridor. Choosing Oman as a buffer zone is a deliberate geopolitical calculation. Muscat has consistently maintained its neutral stance, serving as a back-channel communication link between Washington and Tehran. Iran needs a third party with high diplomatic reliability to guarantee this information campaign. However, in military doctrine, all concessions serve a core objective. Why is Iran self-restricting its deterrence capabilities? This is a tactical retreat aimed at alleviating economic siege pressure. By de-escalating and ensuring freedom of navigation, Tehran is directly neutralizing the legitimacy, casus belli, for the Pentagon to maintain a permanent carrier strike group, CSG, from the Fifth Fleet. A soft disarmament move. It both soothes energy partners and pushes U.S. strategic deterrence forces out of effective operational range. As soon as the intelligence telegram from Reuters appeared on Bloomberg terminals on Wall Street, the energy markets reacted with near-zero latency. Brent and WTI crude oil prices recorded technical sell-offs and short-term profit-taking. The geopolitical risk premium in the oil price structure immediately diminished as the scenario of a comprehensive chokepoint blockade was temporarily removed. The threat of a systemic supply shock has been initially controlled.
The focus of the issue is not just on the spot market, but also shaped by the maritime insurance sector. War risk premium, WRP, and hull and machinery insurance are the key driving factors. Previously, every very large crude carrier, VLCC, entering the Gulf region had to face a dramatically increasing fee. This created a hidden cost that directly fed into the global inflation index. The establishment of the Oman Corridor could trigger a reduction in the risk alert level from P&I Clubs in London, directly lowering operational expenses, OPEX, and global shipping freight rates. In the macroeconomic space, the direct beneficiaries of this tactical concession are the key industrial economies in Asia, including China, Japan, South Korea, and India. These countries have extremely high energy dependency on hydrocarbon flows from the Gulf region. If the IRGCN proposal is implemented with a clear verification mechanism, it will serve as a security buffer, strengthening the integrity of the strategic supply chain and completely preventing the risk of disruption. However, the intelligence lens of maritime transport giants like Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd always operates based on the principle of pragmatic risk management. The asymmetry in the region means that unilateral commitments lack absolute guarantee value. The core issue at the operations centers is, will they accept redeploying billion-dollar fleets through Hormuz to optimize profit margins, or will they continue rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope? This detour requires thousands of additional tons of bunker fuel and extends the transit time by 10 to 14 days. In return, it ensures an operating environment outside the opponent's threat envelope. The dilemma between optimizing operational costs and asset survivability is still forcing maritime strategists to carefully weigh their decisions.
To develop the next phase of the scenario, would you like us to delve into the countermeasures from the U.S. Fifth Fleet Carrier Strike Group in response to this diplomatic move, or focus on potential intelligence gaps if a proxy force intervenes in the safety corridor? Contrary to the reaction from Wall Street, the Pentagon and U.S. Central Command maintain a strategic skepticism. The Combined Task Forces, CTFs, are well aware of the threat ecosystem in the Gulf region. Historical precedent shows that the IRGCN frequently conducts unlawful boarding operations, VBSS, deploying Special Operations Forces, SOF, via fast rope helicopter insertion directly onto the decks of vessels. A corridor unilaterally established by Tehran could easily be nullified with an ad hoc combat order. As a result, relaxing patrols or withdrawing Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers, DDG, is a tactical risk that Washington firmly rejects. On the west coast of the Gulf, GCC allies such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE are on high alert. Although they need to maintain the flow of hydrocarbons, they are acutely aware of security risks. Iran's redefinition of the maritime battlespace forces the Arab bloc to reassess the asymmetric deterrent strength of the IRGCN and their collective defense doctrine. From an intelligence perspective, the Oman Corridor is essentially a savvy information operation, or info-ops, and psychological operation, or PsyOps. By establishing a safe buffer zone, Tehran effectively shifts the burden of escalation onto the Pentagon. The strategic messaging is very clear. Any close proximity actions by Western surface fleets will now be labeled as unwarranted provocation. This move creates a sharp diplomatic leverage, pushing the White House into a dilemma: continue maintaining a costly deterrence posture or fall into the gray zone tactics orchestrated by Tehran. The Oman Corridor proposal is not a ceasefire. In the actual battle space, the distance between an open-source intelligence (OSINT) leak in the media and the implementation of enforced maritime security is a massive strategic risk. Global energy security and control over the Hormuz chokepoint in the coming period will depend on two key variables: the Pentagon's operational risk assessment and Muscat's independent diplomatic guarantees. In your assessment, is this a tactical retreat aimed at breaking the military siege or a deliberate strategic concession from Iran? Should the Combined Task Forces, CTF, lower their deterrence posture in this gray zone? Leave your intelligence assessment in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to continue unraveling the next strategic geopolitical dossiers with us.